Hello and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit on the websites you use every single day. We're going to explore the simple, kind of elegant language that brings them to life. And hopefully, you'll start to see the web in a completely new way.
Really think about it for a second. When you click a button, or you watch a video, or maybe a little notification just pops up, there's something going on behind the scenes, right? What is that magic that transforms a flat page into a real, interactive experience?
Well, in the very beginning, websites were a lot like printed documents. The early web was, to put it simply, a pretty dry and plain experience. You could read stuff, but that was about it. Now, of course, we have these dynamic pages. They're more like conversations. We have shopping carts, social networks. It's a rich experience. So how did we get from there to here? Turns out it all comes down to three core languages that learn to work together.
Okay, so let's start with the first one. Every single web page, and I mean everyone, no matter how complicated it looks, starts with a basic foundation. You can think of it like a skeleton.
And that skeleton is called HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's got a cool origin story, actually. It was created back in the early 90s to help scientists share huge amounts of information. It is the absolute bedrock of the web.
And here's the key thing to get about HTML. It's not about how a site looks, it's about what the site is. It just defines the content. It says, hey, this is a heading, this is a paragraph, or this is an image. It creates all the pieces before anything else can happen. It's just the bones.
And this picture just illustrates it perfectly. This simple hello world is a complete, if very basic, web page. It's just one little piece of HTML, but it's a valid skeleton. And everything from, say, YouTube to Wikipedia is built on this exact same fundamental idea.
All right, so let's move to the next layer and see how this all builds up. Once you have a skeleton, you've got to give it some style, right? Some kind of visual form.
And that's where CSS comes in. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it's basically a language of rules that you apply to all those HTML bones. It tells the web browser how everything should actually be presented.
This metaphor just nails it. If HTML gives you the bones, then CSS, it gives the website its personality. It's the clothes, the colors, the whole vibe. It's what decides the font of a heading, the color of a link, or the spacing between paragraphs. It's what makes every website look and feel unique. And CSS is actually incredibly powerful. It's not just about simple colors. Modern CSS can create these beautiful, fluid animations and smooth transitions. It adds this layer of polish that really helps a website feel alive and responsive to you.
So, okay, we have structure and we have style, but we're still missing the biggest piece of a modern website, aren't we? The interactivity, the action.
This is the job of JavaScript. While HTML and CSS handle the content and how it looks, JavaScript is what gives it that dynamic user interaction. This is the magic behind your social media feed updating without you having to hit refresh, or even complex games that run right inside your browser. So if HTML is the skeleton and CSS is the style, then JavaScript is the brain and the muscles. It listens for what you do, a click, a scroll, a key press, and then it makes the page respond. It is literally the language of behavior. So how does it do all this? It's actually really clever. JavaScript uses something called the Document Object Model, or DOM. And the best way to think of the DOM is like a big family tree for the web page. Every HTML element is a different branch. JavaScript has this incredible power to walk through that entire tree and change any part of it whenever it wants, like adding a new leaf or changing the color of a branch, completely on the fly.
Okay, so let's watch this all come together step by step. Let's just imagine a simple button on a page. It all starts with one single line of HTML. All that does is create the raw structure, the element itself, nothing more.
Then that second layer comes in. CSS applies its rules to that raw structure. It might change the color, adjust the size, maybe round the corners a bit. And just like that, it starts to look like a real clickable button.
And then, finally, JavaScript adds the action. It attaches an instruction to that button. So now, when you actually click it, something happens. A menu opens, a message sends, an item gets added to your cart. You have structure, style, and action, all working together in perfect harmony. Understanding this trio doesn't just teach you about how websites are made. It gives you a brand new way to see the digital world that you live in every single day. It all kind of boils down to this simple model. Just think of HTML as the nouns of a page. The person, the place, the thing. CSS provides all the adjectives that describe those nouns: beautiful, blue, large. And finally, JavaScript provides the verbs, the actions that can perform. You know, it reminds me of this really beautiful quote from the physicist Richard Feynman. Now, he was talking about quantum theory, but it applies so perfectly here. The web can seem impossibly complex, but underneath it all is this simple, elegant system.
And really, that's the whole point of this. It's not about becoming a developer overnight. It's about getting that gift of seeing. So you can look at any website and just sort of understand that quiet conversation that's happening between the structure, the style, and the action.